Hey everyone, so I'm back for another little astrological highlight video. Today is November 8th, 2023, and we had earlier today, much earlier today, we had Venus ingress into her home sign, one of her home signs of Libra. And that's actually going to be something that's going to color our entire month into the first 3, 4-ish days of December. So just into the beginning of December. And I think we're gonna need it. I'm happy to have it here. Let's talk about this a little bit more so you have an understanding of how this is going to color our month. So first of all, let's lay out some basics. Venus is a benefic, yay, and she's moving back into one of her two domiciles. Basically, she has two homes. And when a planet comes back into their home sign, this is where they are incredibly well resourced. So they are better able to do what they do best. And we want this. We need this. I think we all need this. I know I need this. So being in the sign of Libra, this is, you may remember me talking about, or other people, if you listen to other astrologers, talk about how we had this eclipse season. The first eclipse that we had was in Libra. And so if you thought that your Venus story or your Libra story was coming to a place where you got a break, you get a little bit of a break. We all get a little bit of a break, but it goes on. Usually what they say is that after an eclipse season, we can usually count on the first new moon afterwards to kind of say like, okay, well, now we can take a breather, we can reset. This new moon, we'll talk about that in another video, not quite going to be the case. So it does make me happy to know that we have this one lovely aspect that's going to carry us through the month. So Libra being here, yes, she's about relationships. She's about, think about her values, right? She's about relationships. She's about connecting. She's about art and creativity and beauty and the things that we find aesthetically pleasing, the things that we find delightful and pleasing to our senses. But also our values, right? And so when she's at home in her sign and she's well resourced, she's better able to try to provide some support when it comes to how we connect with others in harmonious ways, in ways that are fair and just, and how we are honoring our values and our value system when it comes to our connections with others. That's part of it. Now, how it's really going to play a part is depending on which house is it actually hitting in your chart, right? That's going to tell more of a story. You probably already got a really good feel for how and where this is going to be showing up and having themes show up in your life based on what you saw happening in October during eclipse season, during that first eclipse. So that was earlier in the month, about mid-month, somewhere around there, the 14th. So that will give you some clue. One other quick thing that I want to mention, which we will start feeling on the evening of the 8th, but into the 9th, as you can see this chart is for the 9th, is that we're going to have the moon and Venus being conjunct in Venus's home sign of Libra. And, for those of you who are night owls or you live in some of the other time zones that are further out, like East Coast states or across the pond, even like that, you probably will feel like this is more something that you get to really feel and experience in your day. Lucky you, because this is pulled for the West Coast, as you can see. Now, I pulled it for a time in the morning when it's exact, so you can see it at 4:33 in the morning Pacific time, but in fact, it'll be applying to the moon will be applying to Venus the night before. So on the 8th for when I had the first chart up that you just saw before this, right? So that is actually going to be something we'll start to feel. And when I'm speaking about this, you can just imagine the combination of the moon, which is about what we feel and about how we feel we can be best nourished and resourced, like what feels good for us in a way that's nourishing and nurturing, right? And that being together with Venus, when Venus is feeling more empowered and more in herself and more resourced and able to bring about all the lovely feelings, all of the beauty, all of the physical delights, all of the harmonious connection and connectivity with other people, wanting to be in connection in those ways, right? It's just really, really lovely energy. So I'm just gonna say it's a nice little highlight. We do have some stuff coming up in the next couple of days that I'm going to be doing more videos about. We'll talk about that. So just I would say take advantage of this blip in the week, right? As like a really lovely break. It's kind of like having a breath of fresh air and being able to feel a sense of softness and loveliness in the midst of what we just came out of with eclipse season and what we're going to be experiencing over the next few days that I'll talk about in another video. So last thing that I want to say about this is we're going to be talking about Venus's story as we go through the month. So when we get around like after Thanksgiving, if you're in the States, like around the 27th, 8th, 9th, like around that period of time, we're going to be talking about how the moon is, or how Venus is going to now be moving through where we saw those eclipses. Oops, there we go. Where we saw those eclipses in going over the south node there. So I just want to kind of put it out there to take note of what happened during the eclipse season when we had that first eclipse on the 14th of October, what was happening like around that period of time, what themes you saw come up, and take note of how you're feeling now that Venus is in Libra, right? Because Libra is being activated in this new way through Venus, right? She was ruling both of the eclipses that happened because it was in both of her homes, right? But she wasn't in her home. If you don't know what that means, just I would say take note of what you experienced, what themes have come up. Those are most likely, I would say highly, highly likely, going to be revisited when she comes back over these degrees. That is right where the South Node is, which, as we talked about before, the South Node has a lot to do with this kind of release quality, this I don't want to say letting go. I think sometimes for some people that can feel a little anxiety ridden when I say those words, but just what's completing, or what kind of stories are we getting more information about, right? It'll be like, I think the last maybe crescendo that we'll have for a while at least about what kinds of themes were coming up during the eclipse, during the October 14th eclipse specifically and especially, but all through eclipse season. And then now that she's in her home sign, I think we'll start to maybe feel some support with that, but then also get more information, more messages, and more understanding about what the hell that was all about during the period of time where she comes to that point, which will be, like I said, around the end of November, around that time. So we'll talk about that more as we get closer, but just wanting to kind of say like, hey, plant that flag, put that bookmark, like note it so that you have a better understanding of how the story is unfolding for you. I really believe that if we can work with the astrology in these ways intelligently, that it's helpful, beneficial, it makes it maybe make a little bit more sense and easier to navigate at the very least. And I think when we're in the dark, it's a little bit harder sometimes. When we have that understanding and we know what to look out for, it can be really helpful. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Of course I would get a phone call right then, of course. So anyway, what I was saying is I hope that this was helpful for you. Normally I put these out in videos that are weekly or bi-weekly on my YouTube channel for, I have a playlist called Astrological Highlights. So it's just that my schedule has honestly just been bananas, overwhelming, insane, and I just have not had the time to really sit down and record them the way that I really like to. So I'm doing it this way instead. So for now, this is what I got. And I'll be putting out more videos about the astrology coming up in the next few days because we do have some astrology to talk about. So I will see you in those videos and I will talk to you then. All right, bye.